Welcome to Amy's Creative Corner. As I was following all the information and new releases from the Craft and Hobby Association last week, I ran across a piece of artwork that had this great banner effect, and I was thinking, I can do that in Studio J. So if you watched my last tutorial about banners, you'll note that I just did squares and turned them at an angle and put them off the page to create a banner. They certainly did not look like this, but the more I thought about it, I'm like, we can do this in Studio J. So let me show you how. I'm going to zoom in here on the actual banner, and I have, in addition to the banner, I've got a couple other things to show you about this layout as well. So we'll just focus here on the middle P. So you will also notice, because now that I'm zoomed in, I have individual stitching. So what I can do is just click on it and I'll drag it up and off, and you can see that I simply placed my stitching, just lined it up edge to edge to mimic machined stitching. And then what I did here with my text box, that's not what I wanted. Okay, I will show you. Oh, that's the letter. So here is my text box. So how did I do this? Well, it is simply a square. Let me change the color here. Okay, it is a square that matches the background color. So when I fill in the background color, and let me use my arrow keys to get this placed better. Okay, so when I fill in the background color to black and then click off of it, oops, okay. How about it? I'm trying to click off somewhere where it won't select. Okay, there we go. So you can see that the black background color blends in, so it makes it look like this banner was cut apart. So then I got to thinking, well, okay, how can I do that if I want to have another border around here? So if I want to mat my little flag on my banner. So what I'm going to do is, just so that I can see things a little better, I think I'll just turn this yellow and kind of move it off. Oops, move it off a little bit. Okay, so then I'm going to copy and paste this box, and I'm going to turn it vellum so that I can see the placement a little bit better. And then I'll need to expand it just ever so slightly. And the reason why I copied and pasted instead of creating a new one is because this particular flag is slightly askew. So I rotated it a little bit, so now my banner will be lined up properly. So I'm going to send to back. Okay. So now when I click off of that, it gives me a little bit of a background. And now I'm going to, oops, let's try this. Okay, so the key is that I want my corners, bring this down, I want my corners to line up. So I've got to make my box large enough so that my corners are aligned, and so let's rotate that ever so slightly. Okay, so now I think, okay, that is definitely not square. I've got to zoom in a little bit more. This is kind of on the fly, since obviously I did not do this with my other layout. Okay, so rotate, Make my box a little square, and then again with my arrow keys, kind of position it a little bit, and then I think I'm going to fill this with red. Okay, now, okay, this corner's not quite lined up. All right, a little closer. We'll see how it looks once I get my black box. So I think I'll go ahead and copy and paste. I'm going to turn this black. Okay. All right, so then, okay, my corners look a little weird here. I think I could probably, let's bring this to the front just so it's a little easier to work with. Okay, I could probably make this a little bit bigger. Again, I'm pretty much zoomed as close as I can get, but nudge it with the arrow keys. Okay, now let's send backward. Okay, so that looks a little bit better, but let me open up this box just a tad bit. And then I think I want to nudge it just ever so slightly. Okay, and then click off. Okay, so I'll zoom out a little bit and we can see what that looks like. So that looks okay. I mean, that looks pretty good. I think that would be fine. I don't know that you would notice that the corners aren't quite triangular, and I think that looks pretty good. So I did the same thing down here with more strips of paper to create these little flags, and then I just simply put my, there we go, square on top of that, my black square. Same with over here. I also did it with these little strips of paper that I sent underneath these little flags. The other thing that I want to show you about this layout is that if you take a look at the paper right here, this is the Giggles and Grins pack, which is retired, but I love it. And so I have all these little stars, and I wanted to make it a little more colorful up here instead of being just black. So I took the stickies and I simply placed the stickies right on top of those stars to give it a little bit more color. And then down here, because when you're working with a pattern and the paper is part of the pattern, so in this case this ribbon was part of the pattern, so I can't bring it forward or send it back, and I couldn't bring this forward or send it back either. So if I go send to back, I can do it a million times and nothing is going to happen. So what I had to do was click on my crop tool and simply drag it up until it was cropped off. So that's a great thing about using the crop tool with the stickies. You can make it into whatever shape you need it to be. And then because I had stitching over here to hold on my banner, and I had ribbon over here that was part of the layout, I added ribbon on the ends of my banner, and I added a little bit of stitching around this photo. And the only other thing that I did of note is that these are four, on the left hand side of the page, these are four separate photo wells. And what I did was I took this image of my, oh, there, I'll click on it, okay, of my sister and my niece, and I enlarged it to 155%, in both photo wells, and then I simply nudged the photos until they were lined up with each other. And so that way it makes it look like it is a single photo when in actuality it is two separate photos. So hopefully that gives you some more ideas of ways that you can create your own fun banners and shapes in Studio J. So until next time, happy scrapping!